Chop still has almost no manners when he's inside of a house, and he will have absolutely no part of listening to anyone when there are other dogs around.
He gets way too excited. I was ready to quit being a dog trainer forever. This is Chop. He is a homeless, wild Alaskan dog, and it's my job to train him and our job to find him a home. But it won't be without plenty of challenges. This is reality dog training. Subscribe and click the bell so you never miss an episode.
Well.
Oh, I thought we were taking a picture.
No, we just picked up this food, and it's because Chop, as you may have noticed, has been jumping on the counters.
Yeah.
Like excessively, and he's enormous, and so when he does that, he's taller than a human jumping on our counters. It's ridiculous.
I want to make sure that he knows how to leave this kind of food alone before he goes to his new home. Like, we're gonna work up to it, but I think we've been working up to it actually. I think he's ready for the test.
I don't know how to leave this kind of food alone.
Leave it?
No,
leave it?
I actually do. I just want the fries. Don't you want one?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Okay, I do.
We had such great success yesterday with teaching Chop to relax and settle down while we just hang out and watch TV. I really think Chop is ready for us to take his house training to the next level now. If he's ever going to be a proper house dog, he needs to learn not to steal things off of our kitchen counter. That would be great. Okay, step one, Chop's meal, which he's obsessed with, is on the counter.
Here. Good man. So I'm able to call him away from the distractions. Sit. Good. Okay. Releasing him from all of that. I'm gonna go ahead and give him a reward for that. That was really good. That's what I'm trying to do here. So I'm trying to preempt him jumping on the counter. It's not what to do after your dog does something you don't want them to. It's what to do before they do it. Keep in mind, I mean, he's fully aware there's food up here, but ideally I'm trying to take his focus off of the food, off of the treats. Here. I didn't want him to jump, but you could see how he was definitely gonna jump. Here. I'm being sure to reward him there because he complied with my request rather than taking the attitude, oh, I expect you to do that. And right now I'm reinforcing him very liberally because it's urgent that we get super fast results. But over time, you wouldn't have to reward this much. This is just how we get going. It's a good way to get your dog excited. You can see his body language, his frame of mind seems quite relaxed and pleasant. Okay, come. Good. I just really wanted to intercept before he broke.
So his obedience is looking pretty good here. That's great. But how is that going to teach him not to steal our food? Well, right now, I'm literally trying to set Chop up to experience multiple seconds or even minutes at a time where he's in the presence of food and not trying to steal it. Sure, his attention is totally on me right now, and if I left him alone, I know he would almost certainly just go take that food right away. Don't worry though, because we're about to up the difficulty pretty significantly here, but I have to make sure we have this foundation really solid first.
Told you he loves bark eats. You can tell it's extra tasty. It's keeping his attention. Yes. First time I've lured him into a down with food. Such a great way to give your dog a meal.
This food has beef liver topper on it, which Chop loves.
I want to practice something a little more real world.
Open this drawer.
This drawer.
But then there's fries. There's fries and chicken fingers too.
So maybe we'll start with the salad.
Oh, proper, I see.
Yeah.
Okay,
Less tempting too.
Salads are amazing.
Oh, I think they're amazing, but to a dog, I think I mean, look, he's like, wait a minute, I think there's a burger in there. And clearly it looks like a werewolf is trying to steal this salad. Okay, come on. Here, good. Chop, here. You can see though, the new item really has his interest peaked. Sit. Look at me, stay. But I prepared him for this. The only way our dogs are gonna understand what we expect of them is if we really slowly and methodically walk them through the steps in a way that they can easily understand, that also keeps them inspired to keep learning. Training sessions like we're doing here blend in so easily with real life that it's a shame not to just take that 1 minute at a time to devote, once or twice a day. Nope, okay, everything's breaking down. Chop, here, come. Good man, sit. And so I'm just consistently redirecting him, making it clear he's to stay over here. for right now and leave that stuff alone. It's really not a good idea to wait until you're cooking dinner or until you're having a party to teach your dog how not to do this. You can do this 30 seconds at a time, drills like this. Like have your lunch sit out there, call your dog, have them sit and stay. Just do like mini training drills. That's where they really learn. And it's best to teach them in contexts that really simulate real life ahead of time. Yes? Okay. So you can see he's really on the ball there. Alrighty, here we go. Got a burger here. He's discovered what it is clearly as I taunt him with it. But again, I want to be very clear. I don't want to conceal what it is. I actually want to make this training drill harder. Okay, come here. I want to make this training drill harder than he would encounter in real life. That way I know it's more reliable. See this? Leave it alone.
I have a lot of faith in the communication that Chop and I have built so far, so rather than restrain him, I really want him to reason through this process. Naturally, of course, he's a little bit confused, but I'm gonna stick with him.
Here, come on. By the way, no leash for any of this. Notice that. Good. Stay. Yes. Okay.
At this point, Chop has done pretty well. He's definitely leaving things alone that he was not able to resist at the beginning of this lesson. So I'm about to call it a day, but suddenly my wife stopped me to call me out. Again.
What is the best part of eating a burger?
I don't know. What?
It's the fries. And I put them in the oven to make them extra hot and smelly. If you think that you've completed this lesson, you're wrong, buddy, because the hardest part is
Oh my gosh. Leave it. Chop. See, the second you drop your guard though. That's why you need to do this really consistently. Let them know you always mean it.
Apparently, we still have a little bit of work to do.
These are called French fries, Chop. They're so delicious.
They look good.
They are.
Here, come.
Obviously, this is a tougher temptation for Chop, but again, I think he has it in him. Of course, I'm pleading with him a little bit more than I would like here, but I just have a good feeling that I can call him away from these delicious offerings. In times like this, it can be really tempting to use a leash or a collar to restrain him, but I want to give him the benefit of the doubt and really try to help him understand what I'm actually wanting him to do instead.
Good. You can see he's really learning to follow my hand too. I really like that. I'm able to point and gesture and turn and really use this as a way to communicate with him. If only I could get him to do this when he encounters dogs in public, my life would be much better. Stay. He's far from perfect, but that's his first real lesson on not jumping on counters where I put this much energy into it. And you can see there was some prerequisite there. I'm gonna give him the rest of his meal. I wanted to make sure he knew how to sit, something he didn't know. He didn't know how to stay. He didn't know any of this a few days ago. So I wanted to really practice those things in a variety of real world contexts before I tackled a lesson like this with such extreme temptations, but we're right there up to where he can go for the time being.
And by the way, if you want to know the sign of a really good dog food, it's when your dog will gobble up their kibble like this and not even pay attention to all of that delicious food sitting on the counter. Bark uses a brand new technology to coat Bark Eats kibble with live probiotics. That's really healthy for dogs and apparently crazy delicious too. And these packets are really portable as well. I just love how they take all of the measurement out of feeding your dog. If you want to give Bark Eats a chance, you can get 60% off your first order using my special link, barkeats.com/ZachGeorge. I'll have details in the description. Chop's brain got a great workout from learning how to not steal food off of our counters. He still has a lot of mental and physical stamina left in him. So I'm gonna head down to the park with him and we're gonna see if we can make any progress on how he reacts to other dogs when he sees them in the wild. And immediately there's already a couple of dogs in the distance as soon as we arrive, but I have a ton of room to retreat in this park if I need to. So I'm trying to find the distance where Chop is still interested in one of his favorite games, even with dogs on his radar.
Yes. Good. Now I'm gonna let him go back and just look at these dogs. Good man. Yes. A little reward like that, fine. He's like half-heartedly into the ball because he's so interested in those dogs in the distance. We're letting him check in with the dogs. Not trying to get him to avoid looking at the dogs altogether. Chop.
Okay, we're still a little bit too close to these dogs. I've got a couple of choices here. I could walk up to Chop and escort him away, but first I'm going to see if giving him a gentle tug, remember, gentle guys, will remind him that I'm back here and that I might be worth coming to.
Yes. Good man. So really teetering there. I'll let him check him out a little bit longer, especially since he's behaving right now. Generally, I'm like trying to work away from the dogs. Of course, I've got 2 dogs over here as well coming up. You would expect some extra excitement because of that. So I'm just gonna let him observe altogether. I'm gonna abandon fetch for the moment. Yep, saw it coming. Now I've got to manage him because he's over threshold.
Chop is too overstimulated to be able to give his attention to me here, but there is a distance from these distractions where that will change.
Nope, still don't have him. Now I have him. Good man. So now we got him voluntarily. I mean, when you get a certain distance, they become easier to communicate with. And so over time, you're just trying to shrink that distance. Welcome to reactive dog training.
Okay, it seems that I have found Chop's working distance, at least on this day in this place. Basically, at least right now. Remember, in past training sessions, it's taken a very long time for Chop to adjust enough to even acknowledge me at all. But we're getting glimmers of actual compliance. If I can work with him right at his working distance today and prevent him from getting too overwhelmed, we're gonna make some real progress here. I understand completely how this is easier said than done at times. And Alaska's pretty big, but there's still only so far that I can get from these dogs.
The idea is to get his attention on you before he reacts. The closer he is to dogs, the more likely he is to react. This is a pretty close distance right here for him. And it's also really hard to get their attention. And I don't want to just keep asking for it and conditioning him to ignore it. That is the line I have to walk here. So maybe I'll get his attention and guide him with my body. Chop, here. Yes, this way, come on, let's go. Good man, all right, cool. Now this allows me to build distance and I didn't even have to pull him. In other words, we wanna let our dog take turns between paying attention to something that interests them in their environment and also honoring our request to pay attention to us. Come on. And since he naturally looked at me, I took advantage of that time just to communicate with him. Okay, let's walk. A lot of dogs really just love coming out to a park like this, a big open field, and just walking and smelling like this. A lot of mental satisfaction in that. Good man. He stopped to look at something in the distance rather than insisting that he keep walking. I let him check it out. Same thing here.
By the way, notice how loose Chop's leash is here. Sure, it's 30 feet long, but he's not pulling.
Yes, he looked right at me. And the reward here, if you're wondering, is the environment continues.
Taking free walks like this can be a wonderful way to satisfy dogs, and it can be really great for your overall leash training too.
Just trying to see if he'll do better a little bit closer. Here. Gonna reel him in. Gonna enforce come when called here. Come on, buddy, let's go. So there's an example of physically reining him in there, enforcing a request. Probably in that case, that was one of the least aversive methods I could have used that was likely to get him back over here near me. Let's do an experiment. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a better way. Come. So maybe I should have done that, right? Good man. Rather than reeling him in, maybe shortening the distance, waiting for him to look at me and then encouraging him to move would have worked. That would have been even less aversive, so that's a fun little lesson. Don't be afraid to experiment a little bit. In fact, you should do a lot of experimentations because no 2 dogs are the same. They really aren't. Every dog is truly a unique experience when you're teaching them. Come on. Good man. Here. Good boy.
Did you see that? I called Chop and he looked right at me, but then looked at the other dogs. I waited him out and he did it.
And so this is textbook right here. He's doing a great job. I mean, I love that he's observing this dog, albeit very far away, but I mean, he's not lunging. He's got many feet of lead available to him. He's just behaving well. Part of that's because we played a lot today. We've come out here and walked. He's become climatized to the environment. Let me see if I can get his attention and continue that way. He's been looking for a good long while. Chop. Come. Good man. Pretty good. Pretty good. So I'm really happy with that.
What a day. It has certainly taken a little while for Chop and I to connect. But now it feels like the tide is really turning with us. But doing well at a park like this is super different than doing well in a very populated park down in the city. Let's just say we've got our work cut out for us still.
There are a ton of dogs out here today. How many outbursts is that? 15 minutes ago, I was ready to quit being a dog trainer forever.
Oh yeah, and also this. We just got Chop's breed results.
Are you ready?
Yes, go! Whoa! I thought instantly, definitely. This is Reality Dog Training. Subscribe and click the bell so you never miss an episode. Check out Bark Eats and get 60% off in the description below. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. And get a copy of both of my books too. We'll see you in the next episode.